Hello and welcome to this episode of Health Waves podcast. I'm your host and nutritional therapist, Eilis. So nutritional therapy actually falls into CAM, which is complementary alternative medicine, as do lots of other therapies. You may not realise that yoga is also a complementary alternative medicine. So I'm delighted to be joined today by Maura Rath, probably better known as Yoga with Maura. I would imagine the most well-known yoga teacher in Ireland.
Oh my gosh, I don't know about that, but thank you.
You've so many things going on. I didn't realise how many kinds of different practices. You've got your online studio, which is going really well. You have YouTube videos. You have your sunrise yoga events.
Yeah, my sunrise clubbers.
That's lovely. Other people know you then because you're a participant on The Apprentice, and also you run retreats in Ireland. You run retreats abroad. You're an ambassador, one of the ambassadors with Lululemon.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I have missed a few things there on the way. So thanks a million for joining.
Well, thank you for having me, Eilis. I had heard lots about you from your lovely daughter, Nisha.
And that was my final thing. Thank you on a personal level for all the support.
Well, she's definitely leading the way in her own way. So she's doing amazing.
But it's great to have somebody, who's been around that little bit longer and has done things, for someone like her to bounce off.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But I'm dying to hear more about, I suppose, during this podcast, because I normally talk to other therapists and we talk about different maybe chronic diseases or different health issues. Besides hearing more about your yoga journey and how you got into it and that, I'd love to hear more about yoga as, this support, I suppose, to health issues and how it can, I was looking up, there's hundreds and hundreds of studies about, helping anything from integrative oncology, back pain, mental health, cardiovascular, everything.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting one. And I always, I'm quite cautious when I don't have any medical training of saying what I can do. But what I do is I share my story of how it supports me daily and how it could support other people. And I think that everybody has something going on, whether it's something you can see mentally or something that's maybe a mental trauma that's happened to you. And for me, yoga has been my pathway to success, but it's also my biggest crutch. I feel that when I started yoga, I just wanted the power, just wanted the strength, just wanted the sweat. I was working in a job which was quite stressful. And I was like, right, if I go to a class, I'm sweating, I'm, working my muscles, it'll be a workout.
So it was the physical.
It was the physical. First. And I was like, this is what I want to do, because I fell into yoga through getting tight from running. And then it took a very special teacher, which I always mention, Lizzie. I always think it's really important to find the right teacher. Or if you haven't tried it, find another teacher. And if you don't love my class, try another teacher's class, because we're all different. But the lovely Lizzie, something she did in that class just sparked me wanting to know more. And then I started to get deeper into my practice, do more classes. And then fast forward a few years, I went to do my yoga training. And it wasn't really until I was in the thick of it in India and a couple of weeks in that I was like, it's not just the physical. Through my teachers in India, there's a lot of studies with Ayurvedic, how we treat our body. And, people do get in trouble for saying it could heal this, that, and the other.
I know you have to be careful about it.
You're really careful about it. Yeah. But I do feel that it should be, and I believe it should be a complementary to your lifestyle in whatever you do. For me, it has definitely helped my immune system. It has definitely helped. I have asthma. It only comes back now, maybe if the weather is really damp or something like that. And I definitely feel my lung capacity with my asthma is so much better.
Okay.
Not saying that I've healed from it.
Yeah.
But that's definitely helped. I think I'm gone off on a tangent there.
Because I did see something about the immune system and how it can have an impact on gene expression, which then has an impact on your immune system.
Yeah.
Maybe this is where it has an impact, then it has a place in integrative oncology and anything to do with the immune system. Then it would have an impact on autoimmune disease.
And it's all connected back to your gut. And it's all your gut, your brain, and everything's connected. And I feel, for me, I believe the magic is in the breath. you probably heard this before, 5 breaths. That's all it takes to take you from that parasympathetic, that go, 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 that we're all in fight or flight. We're scrolling, we're driving, we're busy. And when we're in that too much, we get sick. Sometimes you crash at Christmas. When you slow down, you start to get sick. And those 5 breaths, while you move, while you lengthen your muscles, while you work your organs through twists, while you get the blood flowing, and you breathe, you're able to get into your rest and digest. Yeah. You're able to, look after yourself. Yeah.
And you said as well, moving like those twists and everything that help motility. So many people suffer with IBS and all kinds of digestive issues. So I just think, like, when I was studying nutrition, in nutrition, we've got our nutrition and then we've got our lifestyle and supplement support. But lifestyle, yoga all kept coming into when you be, and every time now when I'm making up recommendations, like, I just want everyone to do yoga.
Yeah. For me, like, if I'm practicing yoga, I want to treat my body really well. Yeah. I want to nourish myself. I want to do things that lift me up, because I'm like, okay, I'm doing my stretching and my breathing. And then I don't want to, it kind of almost motivates me to look after my body more, so everything else will flow with it.
Now, when I was growing up in the 70s, yoga was definitely kind of, I think we sort of maybe had a little giggle at people who took parts in it. They were a bit hippie too.
And probably this word which I despise, and you hear woo-woo, like that kind of woo-woo.
Yeah. But even people who went jogging and running were a bit like, but definitely, like, when I was 70s and 80s, it was all about dance aerobics. It was all jumping around. Then it was step aerobics, all that. I didn't ever cross a yoga class. So and now it's definitely happening.
I think so. And I think the moment, even I moved, so I trained or qualified in 2018.
Okay.
And I moved back from living in New Zealand back to Ireland. And when I told my friends, my family have always been supportive, that I was going to give this a go full time, people laughed and people thought I was mad and people thought I'd gone to this hippy dippy place. And I probably have. Now people are feeling the benefits. It's alive. And, I even had a conversation with your daughter about this. True fear in my industry can say, oh, it's very saturated market. It's not. It's just beginning. Yeah. I'm teaching new people every week at my online studio. And the messages that I get, like, I just had a girl that I actually went to school with, hadn't seen for years. She sent me a message last night and she said, Maura, I'm doing a core challenge at the moment. And it's 30 days and we're on day 27. And she just had a baby and she's 6 weeks after her baby and started. And she was like, I feel like I've got back to my body. Yeah. And this is funny because I'm really cautious on my language here. Yeah. It's like, back to your body. What body? Your body is beautiful before and after you have a baby, but connecting to your body like a yogi. So you're aware. So for me, yes, it can complement all different ailments and different things that have gone on, but getting to know your body, feel your body, sit in your body. And I think that's the greatest gift of it, really.
How would you encourage somebody to take part, who is just not, just doesn't feel it, or he wants to take part?
It's really interesting. My beautiful mother is, she does my yoga all the time online and she loves it. And she's always like to people, you need to do it. You need to do it. And I'm like, you honestly can't tell people they need it
to find it.
And they will find it if they're open and they're checking in. And also yoga comes in different forms. Your yoga could be your walking, your tai chi, your kickboxing. I obviously believe in breath and I believe in stretching, but movement is the medicine, I think. Yeah. And if you can find your practice that you can do every day and you can connect with every day, you're winning. And it doesn't have to be rolling out a mat. If you're not okay to sit with yourself, it's really interesting, and hope I'm not contradicting myself. But I feel like if you're doing something that brings you light and it's getting the blood flowing into your body, you're winning.
True. Yeah, that's very true. And in terms of men and women, any yoga that I go to, I used to, when I started yoga initially, I used to go to a class local, and there was always one man in the corner. He was there every day, like every class, and maybe another man, and out of say between 10 and 20 women, always. And any event I've been to,
it was so
pointing and there.
I know, I just had a retreat and there was one guy, and I have an average of one man per retreat. That being said, it's really interesting. When I, started my yoga journey, I was living in New Zealand, and all the classes I went to, it was 50-50, guys and girls.
Not a certain age group?
No, rugby is their GA, like our GA. And I would talk to guys out there, and they would have yoga as part of their training. So I think it's a little bit more into it, but I think it's changing.
I think it's been incorporated into maybe the Dublin men's, I think.
Yeah.
Imagining not.
I tell you, if you're a male yoga teacher, you'd be honestly wanted man in Dublin.
Yeah.
Or around country, around Ireland, anywhere,
Definitely. So I think maybe if it becomes more the norm in boys growing up in their sport, maybe they wouldn't have something in their head about going on to a class or an event.
Yeah, like I have a few guys that do with me online, and a few that come along on my retreats. They love it, and they try to talk to their friends. Yeah, it's just a little bit of fear to step into a room full of women.
It is hard.
Yeah,
it's a bit. Yeah, be a little bit intimidation.
That's it.
Back to the health aspects of yoga and the different impacts that it has. Have you seen this in your practice?
Yeah. After I was on The Apprentice last year, and this was a big wake-up call for me, because I have practiced yoga daily or every second day. Sometimes my yoga is 5 minutes of breath work. It's not always a vinyasa flow or a yin. And I practice it like religiously, probably for 8 years. And it's just part of who I am, teaching and practicing, and I love it. When I went to do that project, The Apprentice, during the time I wasn't allowed to do yoga because they said it was an advantage.
An advantage for you over the other?
Yeah, over the other. And we had no sense of time over there. So we were filming, and it's all like a big TV show, and you're waking up really early in the morning, and they wouldn't pre-wake me for my yoga practice. So literally for 6-7 weeks, I did like 2 or 3 yoga classes. That was on the down day. And when I came out of it, I honestly was a shell of a person. And I know there was a lot of things going on there, but physically, on a physical side and mentally, my beautiful friend Suzanne, who owns a yoga studio in Dunleary called Repose, beautiful yoga studio. The first thing I did was I booked into one of her classes, and I had a bit of a crick in my neck, and it just was going down to my shoulder. And straight away, she really reads the body well through Katoni yoga. She was like, Maura, all of the stress from what you've been through has built up in the body. And I have to say, I didn't feel myself in my body for like 2-3 weeks. The stiffness, I had niggles. And I always say, am I just I need to do yoga now? I need it more because I do it? Or am I now more aware of how good it feels to feel good? So when I don't do it, I feel foreign in my own body.
I wonder, most people maybe going around like that in that kind of bodily state and thinking, oh, I'm getting older, or I'm sitting, or I'm whatever, cutesy, and so in touch with your body.
That's it. Like, you shouldn't wake up feeling, you've got a sore neck, shoulders. You shouldn't feel like you've got at any age. Yeah. Like my whole, people always say, oh, what age group go on your retreat? I have had women in their mid-70s, and I've had women 21. And I just think that whatever age you are, you have the right to feel good in your body.
And that's another thing that I find really exciting about yoga, aging, because I love the whole subject of healthy aging, being able to do as much as we can and enjoy life for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And I heard once that yoga is the one thing that you can actually improve and get better at as you age.
Yes.
So it's to other...
I love that.
If you started playing, I don't know, a sport or something, which you can actually improve as you age. That I think is brilliant.
100%. And I'm definitely someone that I'm very much, people do whatever makes them happy, but I hope that I never get to a stage that I ever want to get Botox or anything like that. And I feel like Ireland is becoming this place now where it's so common. And I'm like, if you've got a few wrinkles, get up on a headstand, get in your down dog, get that blood to your face. And then you start to rejuvenate the cells and keep it young. There's loads of studies in a lot of our yoga practices, like a down dog or an inversion. Your heart is over your head. When your heart is over your head, it's the best way to release anxiety. And I just think that's really beautiful. Your head is between your arms and your heart is above your spine, or you're in a fold. And I just think that's a really nice way to think about it. Your heart is over your head in a fold or ragdoll, just having a few breaths there. Your worries just start to get a little bit less.
That's a really nice way to look at it. And speaking about then aging as well, there's the face yoga with Lydia.
Yes. Actually, I think her partner owns a vegetable shop, does he? The hot sack. Yes, yeah. I got a few of the veggie boxes off him actually in COVID. They're great.
Yeah, I love following her and I love that.
Right.
And I wonder, maybe things will change with people. People say that we're saturated with yoga or whatever. I would feel that about nutrition because obviously everybody in my radar.
And it's you're interested in following, you know, and I just feel like so many people don't know how to nourish their body.
But I kind of think like that, oh gosh, everyone knows something to do with nutrition, but that's because that's my world.
Yeah.
Or full of that. And it's probably the same, you probably are, you know, see yoga teachers everywhere.
Yeah. So Eilis, there's only one of you. So even if there's a couple million nutritionists, there's only one Eilis and there's only one more in yoga teachers. And I think if you remember that.
Yeah. And there's room for
everyone. Yeah. Finding your tribe. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, do you know the way there's different forms of yoga? Can you explain a little bit about the difference?
Yeah, I think a good way to kind of explain it would be, you know, yang energy and yin energy.
Yeah.
So yang is your more masculine, also known as, you know, your heat, your fire, a little bit more strength. So yang, there's a few different yogas that would come under yang. You might have heard of yang yin practice. So a yang would be more of a movement base.
All right.
So, you know,
more energetic.
You're connecting each breath with a posture. You know, you're maybe moving through some sun salutation. You're doing your warriors and you're building the heat and the sweat. So under that yang umbrella, you've got vinyasa, you've got ashtanga, which is very traditional.
Okay.
And then you might have, you know, a Katona yoga. You might have a hatha-based yoga, and they would be under the yang. It's really interesting how we explain this now because I'm a vinyasa teacher and I believe Nisha is as well.
Yeah.
And we teach very differently, you know, and every teacher, not very differently, every teacher will teach so different. So that's why I like to put it in the bracket of yang. So the yang is all the fire, the heat, you know, that intensity. And it can be soft as well. But then the yin, which is like the feminine, the softer. Think about yin yoga. It's about, you know, creating lasting flexibility, grounding. It's beautiful in winter, turning inwards. Then there's also restorative yoga. Then there's also like...
Is restorative different to yin?
So yin's focus is about getting into the fascia, which is about creating lasting flexibility. Think of someone, so fascia, for example, you're coming into a pigeon on the ground, quite intense on the outer glute, the hip, and you're pulling apart all the tightness in the muscle. You hold it for 2 minutes, all the way to 7 minutes, depending on the teacher again. It can feel quite intense. You get to this in your head, we call it finding that kind of number, maybe 5, where you're not hurting yourself, but you really feel the stretch. And what you're doing is you're stretching all the fascia, and then you can create lasting flexibility in the body. Okay, you're actually dehydrating the muscles, so it's really good to hydrate it after. And it's a beautiful practice, but it can be quite intense, but it's soft. Then restorative, and I think some teachers mix this up quite a bit, is literally restoring the body.
Okay.
So you shouldn't feel that you're in a posture where you're like, how many minutes am I in this?
Whereas yin, I've done a few yin postures.
Yeah.
I found it extremely difficult and probably need it more because...
That's a sign you need it more.
But so restorative isn't feeling like that.
No.
Restorative is...
Restorative, you know, there's a lot of props supporting your body in different postures. I think yoga isn't that regulated. I feel like I've been to some restorative classes where I know she's going to put me in 3-4 poses. I'm going to float. All my worries are going to go and I'm just going to be so soft and relaxed and supported. But then you might go to restorative and you're clenching your jaw. She's actually done a bit of yin with you.
Okay.
But they're still in that feminine, softer, floor-based practice. So a lot of the body's on the floor.
Right.
Yeah. And then maybe that's a better way to explain it. And then the yang is high energy. You're on your feet more than the floor.
Do you balance it on one foot maybe?
Absolutely. You can be in your inversions, upside down, whatever.
So is there any difference then in if you take different health issues then, would you send them to a various different type of yoga?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think that like, depending what you're going through in your body, if you are recovering from a deep trauma or an illness that you've had like cancer for a long time, I would definitely be wanting you to go to start with a restorative class.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Like finding your body, giving it care and love.
But then if you are someone that's gone through a treatment or whatever for a long time, but you used to run and do a lot of movement-based things before that, maybe getting into a yang slow flow is what you'll be happier in. Wow. The best way to do it now is just try it out. And don't be put off if you get into a class and you feel like this wasn't for me. That just possibly wasn't your teacher.
Yeah. I have been at classes where somebody has maybe substituted and I just can't, I'm like, I don't like this class.
Yeah, like, where's Sarah?
Yeah, because you really, whatever about difference, I think, and it wouldn't happen maybe in a boppy gym class. You definitely need this sort of a bond or something.
100%
to feel it.
And I also think that sequencing a yoga class, I believe, is like the magic to a yoga class. And I think that people can just, like, I recently did a trip for myself to Bali and I went to a few teachers and I was just felt wrong in my body because I knew that they didn't counter stretch me. They didn't put me in this posture, that posture.
Yeah.
And it felt like we were just going from one to the other. I didn't connect with the breath. And I'm like, she just didn't sequence it right. And so that's quite interesting as well.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think I saw a story or something on your Instagram about that.
It's so funny. You forget that you put things on Instagram and people see it.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah.
So yeah, I signed up for a training. It was like an advanced training. And, your daughter would know, like, I feel anyone. Time is so precious.
Yeah.
I'm running a business by myself that has 6 different ways it pulls me. And I had booked this 2-week training to fill my cup, to be a student, to learn. And I got there and the training was definitely for people that have just graduated. I'm doing this 7 years.
Oh.
Some of the methods were things that on our teacher training that we know that's dated. And it just felt... But I feel like everything happens for a reason.
And what was the reason?
The reason was I go all the time. I'm telling everyone else to slow down. The course wasn't right. I dropped out after 3 days and I did loads of slow classes. I relaxed. That's what I was supposed to do. I wasn't supposed to book a training. So nothing against the training. It was actually not meant for me.
That's a really good way of looking at it.
This lovely yoga student of mine who has been with me since probably 2020 when I started teaching online in COVID, and she's a lovely lady. I won't mention her name. She's been on yoga retreats with me. She lost her husband kind of around COVID time, and she's just been through a real journey, is from the inside out, and just kindness. She always shows up to every sunrise. Yoga belonged to me, and all. Just amazing woman. And her best friend came on my retreat last year in Greece. We had a great time, and I hadn't seen her since maybe before September. And I just, to be honest, I didn't even think. And then I got a message from her through someone else. And they had said that she actually had a stroke. She had a stroke last September. And part of her treatment plan was she wanted to get to one of my yoga classes. I just felt very touched by that, that it was even like, I was even on her radar. And, and I was just shocked and feeling for her because obviously she's gone through this life-changing event. I ended up giving her a private yoga class just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And she came into my little space and we had a beautiful time, and I gave her fabulous sound healing. And you could just feel her energy, her aura was there. And she, said to me, that she's determined and she's going to get back, and she's planning on getting back to my sunrise yoga. And when you just know someone's speaking their truth, I'm like, yeah, you will. And then she has to relearn a lot of communication and stuff like that. And her occupational therapist got in touch with me. And Louise wants to sign up for your online yoga and get doing it herself. This week, we're going to go through the steps of how she would manage to do that herself and purchase it online.
Fabulous.
And she was already like 2-3 steps ahead of her.
Yeah.
And I just think, whatever you've gone through, and her whole now right side of her body, she's a lot of work and physio and stuff to do.
Yeah.
Talking to your daughter here about, I have to leave, I'm commuting at 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, I have nothing to complain about.
I know.
People that have gone through that. And it's just a little story. I just felt like, and it's important to catch yourself. What are you moaning about?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, harden up or anything like that. But like, just shift the perspective of what you can do. And I think for me, yoga, it's like every day I come into my body, I'm like, I'm grateful, I can move, I can breathe, and you're winning.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a lovely story. And that's going to support her journey so much.
Yeah. And I've actually felt from her, she has supported me. It's like what I needed to hear that at the start of 2025.
Yeah. Yeah.
I needed to get, just to realize, like, what am I giving out about?
Yeah. And I think that whole restorative yoga, like it should be prescribed when somebody's leaving hospital, shouldn't it? Like for whatever they're leaving hospital for, because they've been there for gone through something. And imagine if that was part of your prescription once or twice a week.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
It would obviously help people recover. And then, you know, if people who are going back to sports injuries and stuff, they should be prescribed maybe the year. You know,
oh my gosh, get into the flexibility, the mobility. And I do hear like a lot of people now, physios are definitely great at recommending yoga and that, but we just need the doctors to do it a little bit more.
I know, because there's so much research done about it.
Yeah.
That's the biggie. Because so many people don't, you know, they might be on medications where it's not having an impact. There's no side effects with yoga. It's available for everybody. You've got, you know, it's there on
YouTube. You can do free classes. You can, you know, and I always say, you know, there's community. I do community free classes, and it's putting the work in because, you know, it would be easier for my yogis just to stay in bed in the morning and not get up at 6:30 with me.
I think that's what's nice about so it gives a little bit of accountability as well.
And also I feel online can be quite, you know, lonely. And I'm like, I see everyone, you know, saying goodbye to me or hi to me. And I'm like, they're all in their pajamas or anywhere around the country. And it's beautiful.
So you're not then just giving a yoga class to a camera. They're people. That's really nice. Yeah, I think that does make it a little bit different. And so in terms of health, then back to health and wellness and where yoga plays a role in everything. What if you had a wish?
If I had a wish, oh my goodness, if I had a wish, the wish, I suppose, would that more people would be kinder to themselves and try a yoga class. I mean, I would love that it was like something you had to do in school, you know, like I just think back to me when I was in my 15, 16-year-old body and I wasn't great at sports or didn't really connect with that whole competitive, like, you know, hurling or, you know, I came from a house with lots of it and I liked more solo sports. And I just think that it's just so powerful. So I suppose my wish would be more people to find the light. But I think it's already coming true. Do you know?
I think it is. Yeah. It's funny when you said that about sport and particularly, I suppose GA is big here and that. And I know that in practice, and I know it with Nisha as well. And often when I see people in practice about nutrition, they are doing sports, they are training, they're maybe doing weights, they're running, they're cycling, they're doing whatever. But they're actually driving the stress from their participation in too much sport and too much activity. And Nisha will say this as well.
Yeah.
She was playing football, running, all of these things.
Yeah, see, it's all that yang mask.
Oh, yeah. Too much of that. And what I often say to clients is to take one or two of those out and put in a restorative practice.
Yeah, well, meditation or, you know, just breathing or just mindful walking without AirPods, just listening.
Yeah, and people then who are mad about the gym, maybe strength and resistance, like a good, sort of the yang. Like gives so much. Well, also they give so much of that too. I mean, you could be holding yourself in a plank. You can be.
You haven't connected with yoga, try another teacher. Don't give up because it's really just like helping you find yourself and feel yourself. For me, I've had my best business ideas on the yoga mat. I've come to peace with things that have happened. I've let go of things. I just think that's really, really powerful.
I have to push myself a bit to arrive on my mat.
Yeah.
But love it when I get there. Where can people find you and what's coming up for you?
Oh, thank you, Eilis. So it's Yoga with Maura. Very original. Just for the name, yogamora.ie. This year, it's all about the retreats, the online studio. I'm kind of at this stage in my life where, you know, motherhood might be getting closer. My husband and I love our life, but I'm also technically now a geriatric mother, which is crazy. Feeling a little bit of pressure of that. But I also feel like, you know, I know things, all my friends have babies now, I know things will change. So I just kind of keep going this year. We'll see what happens.
That's no opportunities. Well, it's not that. It'll just develop and, you know.
You can't control it, you'll let go.
Exactly. And when is the right time or when?
Yeah.
And just your business model might change or have to slow down.
So just, Yeah, that's it.
That's really exciting.
Thank you for having me.
This was lovely.
Thank you.